Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Utility Safety and Environment Committee meeting for Wednesday, July 12th, 2023. First, let me say that Mr. Corbin did advise that he would not be here this evening. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the Utilities Committee meeting minutes for June 7th, 2023. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mrs. Davis, second by Mr. Oswald. Are there any questions?
Question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is the matter of an amendment to Exhibit C of the Rural Lorraine County Water Authority Agreement. Mrs. Connors.
Good evening. Through you, Madam Chair. What we're asking for is just to extend for 6 months the same rates for what we pay rural water, because Chestnut Commons is it's Elyria water there, but we're in the rural water district, so we bill and pay rural water a portion of that. Just an example. I ran some numbers so you'd have an idea of how much. I mean, we're not losing anything on doing it this way. This contract has been in place for 10 years. Actually, it's up for renewal the end of December. So we're going to sit down with Rural Water and talk about adjusting some of that. But this is all of the restaurants and things over on Chestnut Commons. But it's like we billed for the first half of 2023, we billed like $10,000 in water over there, and we paid them about $5,000. So, you know, we're still making more money from that. But I don't have any real idea how this was all negotiated 10 years ago. So they just want to extend it now, and these are the same rates we've paid for 2022. So I just need approval to go forward with that.
Thank you, Mrs. Connors. Are there any questions for Mrs. Connors? Thank you. Well, I'll read the committee report. Let's see. We have considered the matter of amending the Rural Lorraine County Water Authority water supply agreement for service in the Chestnut Commons area, and this is an ordinance authorizing the amendment to the said agreement to reflect the extension of the 2023 rates for June 30th, 2023 through December 31st, 2023. Emergency clause is requested. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mrs. Simmons, second by Mr. Oswald. Is there any other discussion?
Question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mrs. Connors. The next item on the agenda is the matter of authorizing the mayor to submit application for the grant and/or loan for OPWC project Round 38 for the year 2024. Mrs. McKillop.
Good evening, through you, Madam Chair. This is an annual program that we participate in. We submit applications for, historically, for street resurfacing programs. Usually these projects are a little bit too big for our Issue 6 program. This year's list does include Abbey Road from University Ave north to East Broad Street. Now the southern part is actually being repaved this year. So this will complete Abbey Road up to Broad Street. Furnace Street from Lake Ave to West River from Furnace Street to State Route 57, Leona Street from Griswold to Midway Boulevard, and then Midway Boulevard from Tillotson to West River Road. I just want to mention that Furnace Street and West River Road, those applications were submitted last year, and they were not funded for this year's program, so we're going to submit them again And hopefully we come out looking pretty good as far as scoring for approval for next year's program. The applications are due September 1st, so we do need this as an emergency.
Thank you, Mrs. McKillop. Are there any questions for Engineer McKillop? Seeing none, I'll read the committee report. We have considered the matter of the Ohio Public Works Commission project, OPWC, for 2024, round 38. And this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to submit applications for grants and/or loans and accept funds from OPWC for 2024 street project. Street list is attached. Emergency clause requested. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mrs. Davis, second by Mrs. Simmons. Is there any additional discussion or questions?
Question.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is the matter of authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with ODOT to reconstruct and widen pavement on I-90 within the city corporation limits. Engineer McKillop.
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair. No, I'm coughing. ODOT reached out to the city because part of their proposed project does go through the city of Elyria. They're looking at, again, widening and reconstructing I-90 and a small part of State Route 2 from the interchange at State Route 611 into the city over to where the Turnpike interchange is. So that's just a little west of State Route 57. There's no cost to the city for this. This is just basically paperwork that we need to process so that ODOT can continue with their program. Construction slated to start in 2025, and it'll take about 2 years to complete.
Thank you. Mr. Lundy.
Yeah. Thank you, Chairwoman and Councilwoman. I just wanted to point out, I haven't been a member of NOACA, saw the studies that were done regarding 90 and the traffic issues that were going on there. A lot of accidents, especially it seemed like westbound traffic, which would be coming towards Elyria during the rush hour, seemed to be a real problem. There's a lot of pinch points through there, backing up, but I know the state was concerned, ODOT was concerned about the high number of traffic accidents that were taking place in that stretch of 90. You know, I think that's good for us for economic development opportunities too, you know, when you have more lanes coming in and leaving from the area. So, and the state's picking up the tab, right? So we're, that's even better. And they were widening the bridges also in that stretch, especially over near 611. And we have the ability to widen the lanes as well too, with the bridge through here. So all is good. I think this is real positive for the city.
Thank you, Mr. Lundy. Mrs. Deary, and then Ms. Davis.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. Engineer McKillop, since you indicated there's no cost to the city, and I see, just briefly looking at the consent legislation, that unless the city were to ask for some sort of extras, then obviously we would need to pay for those. I would request that this matter would be removed from the finance agenda. Do you have any reason that you think this needs to also go to finance?
No, I would agree.
Okay. So thank you. So I would request that. Thank you.
Mrs. Davis.
Through you, Madam Chair. So, you know, we've been having this issue for quite a while for sound barriers, and we have the issue at Creekfield where several cars has rolled off of 90 onto their yard and went through several houses down there, and we're still having the issue. So now you're telling me you're getting ready to widen that area from 611 down to, is it going to come down to 57? Because we need to talk about barriers. You know, we've been trying to, we have met with the residents of that area, And, they got the water issue from ODOT, making that off-ramp there now, and then putting up, you know, we got to have, in this contract, we got to have those barriers in there.
Yes, we've been in, we've had conversations with ODOT regarding, the issues with vehicles leaving the roadway and heading down towards those houses, as well as the water issues down there. You know, their answer to us would be, you know, through the design process, they'll look at those issues, you know, as we have discussed, and, if there's any changes that they can do, they will include it in the project. Sound barriers, that was something that was also, through the study that, ODOT performed for this project. And I don't know what the final outcome is, and I haven't, you know, plans aren't completed yet. But I know that was definitely something that they were looking at, areas where, sound barriers could be installed. Again, I'm not sure what the outcome will be, but they were definitely looking at that, for that section of I-90 and that small area of State Route 2.
Thank you. Mr. Oswald?
Through you, Madam Chair. So I guess I can further on that comment because there was a handful of people got mailed letters from ODOT on Hemlock, and there was, let's say, 12 or 15 letters sent out. We caught wind of it, and next thing we were like, there's more people that are going to want these sound barriers. So it seems like the letter had to be on Friday, and so I started calling some people. We started calling some people. The guy is in District 3, it's Levi something. So we had, I don't know how many people call already, and they get the picture, and it sounds like we are going to, now, checks in the mail, that type thing. They said that we will be getting the sound barriers, okay? But what I still am in the process of doing is I'm drafting a letter and to email or text or call this Levi at District 3 to say that we live in this area, we want the sound barriers. At that point also, you can put in that in this area, we want some form of security barriers for accidents that have happened for safety. And I think the more people we have, which we had a bunch of people that called, and they were very responsive. I had a half an hour conversation with a guy and from ODOT, and he was like, oh no, this is a random stuff. If they don't fill out the application, we send it out again. And if they don't fill it out again, we go door to door. He says, we want the information from the people that are living there. And so it sounds good how he's talking, but it looks like we are going to have some success with the sound barriers, but I wasn't talking, I know we talked a little bit about the accidents and things like that. I think we have to just be more assertive, write more letters, make for more phone calls so they know that we need all those things. And I think we might just get them. So, thank you.
That'd be a good thing. Mr. Lundy?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Having been in Columbus, I can tell you sound barriers are always very political. And normally when those requests are made, you need to be members of the right party in the majority to be able to get them granted. So just wanted to make you aware of that. When I was there, over 8 years ago now, I think we were $1 million a mile or something like that. They're quite costly. I understand, I think Sheffield Village has been making requests for the sound barriers as well too. Just everything that I've seen about sound barriers, just to caution everyone, is that, and maybe the engineer can weigh in on this, but my understanding is, at least from what I've heard in committees before, is that it might help to deter the sound of the houses that are closest to the wall, but then it throws the sound back further. So there's still going to be some people that get impacted by the sound from the roadway.
Thank you. Are there any other questions and or comments? We kind of got off track with the sound barriers, but that's okay. I see none. I will read the committee report. We have considered the matter of the State Route I-90 reconstruction and Widening Project through ODOT. And this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with ODOT for said I-90 project. Emergency clause is requested. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Oswald, second by Mrs. Davis.
Simmons.
Simmons, I'm sorry, Mrs. Simmons. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the matter of authorizing the mayor to enter into a professional service agreement with an ODOT pre-qualified engineering consultant for the Cleveland Street project. Engineer McKillop.
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair. This is a request similar to what we did for the East Broad Street project. Our department is in the process of reviewing submittals from 4 different consulting firms that have applied, or have submitted their qualifications to provide the city with construction administration and inspection services for the Cleveland Street project. Similar to East Broad Street, part of the project is, will be funded through NOACA, and the city will have a portion of the cost as well. We're stating that the not to exceed amount's about $500,000, about 10% of the total construction cost for the project, which is typical as a starting point for these agreements. I think that's it.
And will the road diet be included in that study and?
This is actually the inspection services, so that what, because we have a contractor that we're currently in the process of going through an getting the project awarded and approved through ODOT. So now our responsibility is to hire the engineering firm that's pre-qualified with ODOT, so that they're on board. So when we go to have our pre-construction meeting, that they're ready to jump on board and go at it. And what we've heard from the contractor, they're ready to go get moving on it. So
Great. Any questions for Mrs. McKillop? Mrs. Davis?
Through you, Madam Chair, I missed the cost of what it's gonna cost us as a city for these consultants. How much?
It's not to exceed amount of $500,000,
Okay.
which is, NOACA's gonna pay 80% and the city's gonna pay 20%.
yeah, so our cost will be about $100,000. And we have a state infrastructure bank loan that is gonna cover our portion of the project.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions?
Call for the question.
Well, I have to read the committee report.
Oh, I'm
sorry. We have considered the matter of a professional service agreement with a pre-qualified engineering consultant to oversee management of the Cleveland Street project. And this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into said agreement for the management and construction services for the Cleveland Street project. Amount not to exceed $500,000, 80% NOACA, 20% city. Emergency clause is requested. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Davis, second by Mr. Oswald. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is the matter of authorizing the mayor to enter into a change order number 1 for the Cleveland Street project. Engineer McKillop.
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair. The Elyria codified ordinances require that city council approve change orders that are either over 10% of the contract, construction contract, or $100,000, whichever more. Because this project is, the price, this one is almost $5 million. And because we're using federal funds, we cannot have any contingency amount within the contract itself. So in order to avoid delays during construction, we want to get the change order amount pre-approved, so that if we do come to an issue where, time is of you know, an issue, we don't want to have any downtime, that type of thing. We'll already have this much approved through council.
Any questions for Engineer McKillop? Seeing none, I will read the committee report. We have considered the matter of we have considered the matter of change order number 1 for the Cleveland Street project, and this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into the said change order, adding the amount of $250,000 and increase of 5.09%. Does this need to be an emergency, Kathy?
No.
Okay. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mrs. Simmons, second by Mrs. Davis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the last item on the agenda is the matter of authorizing the mayor to enter into change order number 1 for East Broad Street project. Engineer McKillop.
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair. This item is the same that we just, you know, went over. This one's for East Broad Street. Same thing, we're asking for approval of a change order ahead of time to avoid delays and possible further downtime costs. Again, this one's also $250,000, and the original contract amount for East Broad Street is almost $7.5 million.
Thank you. Any questions for Engineer McKillop? Seeing none, I'll read the committee report. We have considered the matter of change order number 1 for the East Broad Street project. This is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into the said change order, adding the amount of $250,000 and increase of 3.32%. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Simmons, second by Mr. Oswald. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. There are I thought somebody was going to say something. There's no other items on the agenda for the Utilities Committee meeting, so I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Davis, second by Mrs. Simmons. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Good night, everybody.